Yay! Hi, we're live. As usual, I'm just going to quickly check on my MacBook to see that I can see questions and that, but if everyone can start, hang on, let me turn that volume down. I always do that. But if someone can tell me that they can hear me nicely, nice and loud and clear, we've got our microphone on, and that, well, the lighting better be good enough because that's as good as it's going to get. Tonight, I will be making the lemon curd and a version of the ice cream that's from the website, slightly different, that I've just made for Cell Squared. Who's one of the brands that I really love and work with. And we're going to be making it on the cooktop. As you normally know, I will do things for convenience live in the Thermi because my cooktop is over there and I would have to have my back to you or the camera set up in some creative way to actually capture me. So I've gone and bought a portable cooktop today and we're going to use it for the very first time. So probably very risky to do this with eggs in a double boiler, but hey, we'll go for it and see how we go. Now let me just see if I can see anything that anyone's doing because I'm not seeing anything. I can see 21 people are watching. So can somebody say a comment so I can just see that I can see the conversation. So during tonight, if you want to ask any questions, I know there's lots of things about the breads and stuff like that people have been asking me about. You can pop the questions in the chat. I will do my best to answer them while we're going because basically I'm going to get this curd on very soon and whisk it as it goes. Then when it's finished, I'm going to pop that into a jar and then I'm going to get the ice cream started straight away. And like I said, the ice cream is slightly different to the website. But at the moment, Facebook is not showing me anything in any conversations. So if anyone can just leave a comment so that I know.
There's at least 3 comments already.
Okay, well, I'm not seeing any comments. So let me have another look on here. Always a good thing. All right, I can see. Let's see that. I don't know why it was just showing me in a different thing. Let's see if that will come up now. Yay! I can see comments. Alrighty. And I can see there's no real questions just yet. So that's good. Awesome. So, like I said, we'll be doing it on the cooktop. I don't think I've shown you anything live on the cooktop before. I recently did one for the Women's Health Summit, the low carb long weekend video. But yes, we're going to be getting straight into this. I'm going to just check and tell you, when I put this on, I have heard that it makes a little bit of noise. So I'm hoping that it won't transfer into my microphone and you'll still be able to hear me loud and clear. And I'm probably going to have to play with the temperatures a little bit. So I'm just going to put that power on. I'm just going to put that on simmer. I'll probably turn it down to about 1,000. Oh, we'll turn it up first. Has anyone got a Breville portable cooktop? I just went and picked one up today from, what's it called? Good Guys. So I'm hoping it's a good one. So like I said, we're making lemon curd. Now, the recipe that's on the website does have a slightly different method that I've done in my cookbooks and that as well, where it's just straight into the pan. And I know some people have been struggling because it is really about knowing your cooktop and the heat and how it transfers into eggs, of course, because they can scramble. So today we're going to do it the old-fashioned way with a double boiler. I've just got a saucepan on the pan now. On the cooktop, I don't know what to call it. And it's got about this much water in it, let's just say about 10 centimetres of water. So it's enough that it will not touch the bottom of the glass and that will be suspended enough. I'll just have to keep watching the temp because I can't turn it just down a little bit. It's got sear, saute, medium, simmer, those sort of settings. So I'm trying to learn how to use it on the hob. So in here now, so yeah, the normal one is just in the saucepan. We're going to do it via the bowl over the suspended over simmering water today. So I will adjust the recipe if all goes well and this turns out just fine. It should. So in here we've actually got 6 egg yolks. I have just separated them just before I started. And I'm going to pretty much put in everything straight away other than the butter. I'm just going to fold that in and whisk it through, not fold it, whisk it through at the end as you would do with a normal lemon curd. Now, I have half a cup of sweetener, and the sweetener I use is xylitol. I've got them here. I don't know if you can see them. A xylitol or an allulose. Now, as we know, allulose hasn't been approved in Australia yet, but you can get it through iHerb. And the xylitol, I use the birch xylitol from Keto. Now, the reason I use xylitol or allulose in a curd is because if you use the other ones with monk fruit or erythritol, they do crystallize when they get refrigerated. So if you've ever made curd before and then you've gone to eat it out of the jar or use it later and it's like eating glass, that's why. Because once the sweetener has actually melted, it goes back into its solid state and it's like glass shards through it. So the xylitol allulose does not recrystallize. They're the only sweeteners that I found that don't. Powdered erythritol is okay, but it will still go hard and sort of slightly candy. But it's still okay. Let's just say if you're going to do, say, a lemon meringue pie for a barbecue tomorrow, I would just make the curd in the morning, leave it out at room temperature, or just slightly chill it and then put it on the pie shell and top it with the meringue and torch it just before it's going to be put on a table and served or taken to that particular barbecue. So it's nice and easy. So I've just got half a cup of the, I've just got xylitol for this one today. Remembering xylitol is toxic to dogs and certainly shouldn't be probably given to like kids when you've got dogs around as well too, because they tend to feed the dog, right? I've just got a fresh lemon off my lemon tree. I like to put a lot of lemon zest into my lemon curd. And I can honestly say the beauty of this recipe is that you can use any citrus. So if you want to put orange, blood oranges are in season at the moment. Well, they are in my backyard anyway. Grapefruit, ruby grapefruit, limes, any of those in there. But what you can also do is I use a bit of the lemon juice and I actually put in some raspberries as well. So I make a raspberry curd, and it's funny, like I used to serve it pre-keto with like bacon on toast. Sounds weird, but tastes amazing. So I've just done the whole lemon, or the zest of a whole lemon, pretty much there. And I'm just going to squeeze in, it should be half a cup of lemon juice. Now this is a lemon off my tree. It had fallen off, but they're usually pretty good. So who's having tomorrow off? Who's actually got a long weekend? Dave and I get lost with all these weekends now, so I honestly don't even know what day it is some days. So, but I hope everyone's staying warm. We've got the heater on in here, or the air conditioner, and I'm hoping I don't get overheat while I'm doing this tonight. Normally I do, but I feel okay right now. Okay, so I've got all the lemon in there. Now I'm just going to flick this and just see that I've got it all in order. Yep, awesome. So I'm just going to whisk that in. I've still got plenty of water in my thingo. So on all the recipes on the website, you can actually see, like, you can print them off. This is just like one page of the lemon curd that's on there. So the ingredients in it is just 100 grams of butter, half a cup of the xylitol or allulose. Now, half a cup of these sweeteners is roughly around about 100 to 110 grams. Just remembering that all sweeteners are the same. So if you're going to use like a powdered sweetener, half a cup of powdered sweetener is like double that almost, because it compacts better. Half a cup of lemon juice, 1 lemon zest, and 6 egg yolks. One of the things I'm doing with the ice cream today is I'm going to do it with whole eggs. I did it yesterday with whole eggs for us. I don't know what that is, but hopefully that's turning it down. So I'm just placing this over the heat now. It should be over simmering water, and I'm just going to whisk it so that those eggs don't curdle. God help me that they don't curdle when I'm live. as I said, it could be funny. I think I've gone live quite a few times and done things that I don't usually do. So yeah, it's all fun and games when Megan's on camera, which is not very often. So how many people have made the lemon curd before from the website or from one of my books and it's worked or it's failed? I'd love to know so that who's tuning in was interested in this as one of the recipes, because Dave often is telling me, you know, comments and posts and that people have written that are, I've made this and it doesn't work, what am I doing wrong? So I think you're all going to love the ice cream tonight. Clara, I think you were one who said that you had problems with the ice cream before. I'm not so sure, but I might be right there. And I apologise if I'm wrong. But yeah, it has been one that's been tricky for some people before. And of course, I use a Thermomix, and while that is not set in, it's still my recipe that's completely on there. It's very standardised. So doing it on the stove, I think, is different. So that's why I thought I would just show you how to do it. But it's still like so simple. Like honestly, I think you could probably even do it in the microwave if I had a go of it one time. It's just about doing it gently when you're not using an appliance, I guess. So God help me, I don't curdle these eggs. So let me have a quick look. I don't know, is it updating? I hope there's not more questions there because I cannot see any. Let's have a quick look. I hate doing that. I think I'm just going to lose everything completely. Come on, update. So basically what we're doing with this is we're going to wait till it's just thickening. So, okay, so yeah, there is some questions in here. So yes, Clara, it was you with the ice cream. Too scared to try to waste 6 egg yolks. Hope this will give me the hints. Like I say, this is really gentle this way. Who was that? Lara. So if you were doing this on your own cooktop where you've got more control over the heat or the flame, particularly if you've got gas, you know, you can turn it down. As long, I'm just going to check because I don't know this one. As long as you're not overheating it, you'll be fine. Like the bowl above, and we all know, like use a heat resistant bowl. So use a good Perspex glass bowl. Remember that when you lift this too, that there is steam and it can burn if you're going to check heat. So that's always something to be careful of. But if you're doing it above, all you're doing is you should be able to stick your finger in there and it's not going to be boiling or going to burn you. So you'll be able to check the temperatures. If you do it gently, you can do it for longer. It's just about gently heating the egg and the sweetener, and it becomes thicker. So eventually where's our little spatula? Here's a little one here. There's another one over there. So when we do this and we put our finger in there, it should actually like hold, which it is pretty much now, but I'm still just gonna take that a little bit further because to me that's not that thick yet. I think that's just the foam. Yeah, it's still pretty good, but it's still got to get a little bit thicker. So yeah, you won't waste the egg yolks if you do it this way. It's just gentle, and you'll start to see that when you put it in there at first, it's really runny, and then it should thicken up. Hi, Kim. Me, but failed. Yes, Clara. So the new ice cream, I don't use xanthan gum. So that's the first ingredient that's coming out of it. This new one tonight actually has coconut butter in it. It's completely optional. You don't need it. And you'll notice that the recipe on the website, I've gone into the recipe card and I've actually removed the xanthan gum from it, and I've added gelatin. So that's a new secret one. You can add gelatin to things like this lemon curd too, or agar, if you want to use that instead. So that is looking pretty good, to be honest. Okay, So, like I said, all you are doing is you're waiting for it so that when you do this, you should be able to see that on there, it holds that's just a drip on the end, it holds the stroke from where you've actually wiped the curd off, or it just slightly only just drops. But you'll see like this is already starting to thicken. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to just add in my butter, and I'm going to whisk in this butter until it's thickened. So in my original one, you melt the butter in the Thermomix. It's the first thing that goes in, and you melt the butter and you add everything else. And so, you know, it's not going to hurt it whichever way you do it. I want to actually try and do this all ingredients in as well, which I'll do separately because it's non-traditional. But one of the things that I like to do is constantly take a old school recipe, the way it's always been done, and try and eliminate as many steps as I can to make it easier for us all. Because I love the lemon curd that I do in the Thermomix because it's just all in there and cooked at once. Which of course you can do, like we've got the Magimix there as well, you can do it in the Magimix as well. I would just, if you've got one of those, I would use speed 3 on there. I'd still put in the whisk attachment and just set the temperature still for like the 80 or 90 degree C. But probably do the time shorter in the Magimix because it has the wider surface area in the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to take that off. I'm just going to grab a cloth and I'm just going to turn that off for a second. Okay, so this is my lemon curd. So as I said, this has got the xylitol in it for anyone that's come later. So if you're reading the recipe and you don't have xylitol allulose, the curd will crystallize after making it. So that is not anything, a fault through the recipe or what you did. It's the sweetener and it's just how it reacts. So I have a jar here somewhere. Here we go. Now, when you make this, this might not seem thick, right? But it is going to be, it's going to thicken as it cools, okay? That's Stormy. I think she's going to go outside. So Dave will fix her up. So this is a beautiful lemon curd, and you can add more zest to it if you wish. And I will try it, as I said, with the full eggs and that as well too. But if you do use just the eggs, the egg yolks, and have the egg whites, well, then you've got something to make meringue with, don't you? So that's my lemon curd. I'll just leave that out while we're here, and then I'll put it in the fridge. I'll show you a picture of it later, just in a photograph of how thick it is once it's cooled. But yeah, you're not, when you're making these sort of things, it's like custard. If you're making my custard too, when you pour it into a jar, because it's the same thing, you've got to think like custard, ice cream and curd are almost the same. You've got the egg yolks and that, like, I mean, my ice cream does have egg yolks in it, but you've got the egg yolks in there as like the fat and the butter as the other part of the fat, where in the ice cream you've got the cream. So when they're all ready, they're all liquid, but as they cool, they thicken, okay? So don't expect it to be thick curd that's going to come out of your bowl, but you roughly want to cook it over the heat for around 8 to 10 minutes, okay? And that will cook your egg yolks well and truly and get it nice and thick. So you shouldn't be too worried about it. My daughter, Sarah, has made the lemon curd a couple of times and it worked perfectly. Beautiful, Sharon. And was that in a thermo cooker or on a hot plate? My other method of just doing it in the saucepan. Looking forward to make the curd and the ice cream. And did you see that I actually wrote that you could put the two of them together so we can actually make lemon curd ice cream. So I could mix that in the ice cream, which I'll probably do. You could do it completely mixed in the ice cream, or you could do it as a ripple through the ice cream as well. So anyway, I need that pan again, or the hot plate thingo. I need my whisk again. So I'm going to put this on, and then I'm just going to refresh my Facebook because I don't know why. I don't think the questions are coming up in real time. Sorry if this is really loud. I know I've got a microphone on, but this is the only, it's the only one I know of anyway. The only Perspex bowl I have that fits over the top of that particular pan. And I don't have many small pans because I have very small ones, which are for photography. Most of my things are for photos only. So who's following on Instagram and has been seeing some sneaky new pictures from our next cookbook coming up? I'm working on a slow cookbook, and I've been sharing some of the photos so that you can see them. So just open this up again. Okay, I'll just keep an eye on the feed to make sure that I'm not missing any questions. Okay, so I might put a little bit more water. I've got this here in there, and we're going to make the ice cream. So this is like, I reckon it is the easiest ice cream, and Clara, I want you to make it again, and you're going to get it right this time. So before I turn it on and it starts making noise. Oh, and did you hear that noise of that over the speaker? So I'm hoping that it wasn't making too much noise. So the ingredients that go into this ice cream tonight are whole eggs. So we're going to use 6, I'll actually just take that off there. Not too hot, my board. 6 whole eggs, and we're going to stick everything in at once. Yep. And again, I haven't done this on the double boiler, and I also haven't done the whole egg ever, just with a whisk. So we'll see how that goes. So 6 room temperature eggs, as we've been discussing even today on the Facebook group. I always use room temperature eggs. It eliminates the eggy flavour in baking. I think there's a host of reasons why it works really good. A lot of our things are like softened or temperature controlled. For our low carb bread, there's yeast. So I like to just use room temperature all the time. My eggs just don't go into the fridge even when it is a hot day. They're just still in my pantry. But in saying that, if you do live in a hot area, if you're in far north Queensland, you might want to stick them in the pantry. That whisk. So I'm just going to break those egg yolks and just give this a light whisk before I put anything in there. As we start to get some of the ingredients, and I'll turn that back on, I don't think it'll take that long to get back up to heat. So again with this, it's just like the curd. You're only just going to heat everything and start to thicken it, and it really just does the rest itself. So in the Thermomix, this is all done at 90 degrees, 9 minutes, just with the butterfly whisk and speed 2 to 3. Just depends on how much splashes around. So again, I'm using the xylitol sweetener because while this doesn't crystallize if you use the other sweeteners, it does solidify. So it really makes your ice cream hard like a rock. But when you use the xylitol or allulose, it doesn't. So it stays soft and scoopable. And this particular recipe doesn't have any of glycerine or alcohol, xanthan gum or guar gum. And it's funny because most recipes that I always see, and I have put it in mine too, just because it's more readily available as xanthan gum in cold. You should actually use guar gum in cold ones and xanthan gum in baked goods, but anyway, that's another matter. So we've got the sweetener and the eggs in here. We're going to put a good pinch of salt flakes. This is not to make your ice cream salty. It actually has something to do with the chemistry of freezing your ice cream, and it does help. I'm just going to do this one as a vanilla today because I am going to use that lemon curd definitely in this recipe. So I'm going to put, you can put from 750 mils to around 800 mils of ice cream. This mixture makes roughly around about 1.25 litres of ice cream, okay? So I've been measuring it lately. Actually, that's something that people have been asking me I've seen a few questions regarding why my recipes don't have weights for servings. So the example we use is if you have a steak, if you cook it rare, medium or well done, do you think that affects the weight? It does, doesn't it? But the raw weight's different. So if I was to do weights, or anyone else is doing weights for your recipes for nutritional, they would actually have to give you the raw weight and then the finished weight. So the amount of shrinkage, because that's what I do for all our packet mixes. Like so for instance, the pancakes, when you're looking at the per serve, that is actually taking into account the raw ingredients put in there, the liquid put in there, then it cooked, and then them all weighed out and the average of that weighed out. So I don't do measures for, you know, my stir fry or my steak with salad, because the nutritional is never going to be the same. Nutritional is always a guide, so just remember that one. So yeah, if you've ever wondered why I don't put those measures on there, that's the reason why. So the other things that go into this recipe is gelatin and collagen. So I've said in the past that collagen was optional. In this one, I really think that both these two ingredients are the main factor in why it is so creamy and smooth and soft. Like honestly, this is like I've compared it to everything that's on the market lately, and I don't think there's anything that comes near it in a packet, like things that you can buy in the supermarket or in specialty stores. So yeah, this is a really great ice cream. I knew I had a teaspoon around here somewhere. And that one is a teaspoon. I really need to get some new ones. So it's just got 2 teaspoons of collagen. You can use flavoured collagen, so that's a really good way of flavouring your ice cream. So Low Carb Co is an Australian company, and they have tons of collagens and ones combined with MCT powders for creamers. And I often use, my favourite one is a vanilla toffee. I'm slightly addicted to it. It's really great in the ice cream. I think it's probably the top flavoured ice cream I've ever tried. But today we've just done basic vanilla. So this is the secret ingredient, this particular recipe today, and this is sort of kind of a cross between my fat ice cream that's also on the website that you may not have seen before, that is made with butter and MCT oil. So I'm going to put roughly around about 60 grams, and man, it is hard in there. But I'm digging down to get some of the actual coconut butter, because as you know with coconut butter, I don't know if you can see that, that's the oil and that's the butter. So all the tasty stuff goes down to the bottom. So I just want to make sure I got plenty of that to go in there. So then this one will be like a coconutty kind of, it's only a gentle coconut flavour, but a coconutty flavoured ice cream with the lemon curd swirled through it. So I'll let the lemon curd thicken, and after I've churned it, I'll just fold it through so that we've got a nice ripple. Okay, so I'm just putting roughly around 60 grams of that in there. I'm just going to turn this on, and then I'll have a look at some questions. Okay. So have I got everything in there? I put in the egg yolks, I put in the sweetener, we've put in cream. So the cream can also be swapped for yogurt, or it can be swapped for coconut cream. If you're going to use the coconut cream, I would recommend refrigerating the cans of coconut cream overnight and just using the thick stuff and maybe just a little bit of the liquid. We've put in some salt flakes, another one that we've had a few people trip up. Salt flakes, I use salt flakes in all my recipes. I do not use pink Himalayan salt or Himalayan salt, it's much saltier. I do not use fine salt unless I actually write fine salt on it. Fine salt is again a lot saltier and a lot goes a lot further. This is not really salty. Like, it's salty, but it's not as salty, okay? So I've just used a good pinch of that. We put some vanilla in this one to flavour it, but you can use any extracts. We put gelatin and collagen in it. With the gelatin, same as the one we've done recently for the frozen yogurt, which you can also do as an ice cream. Instead of gelatin, you can use any sugar-free Jello packs and that as well too. So if you've got, you know, your aeroplane jelly, the low sugar ones, and you want to use one of those, that will actually flavour it, and also add the teaspoon of gelatin into the mixture. So that's all we need, and we've got the cell squared coconut butter to make it beautiful and soft. And this, like the coconut butter, you could use MCT oil as well if you want to. If you look up fat ice on the website, that's an older recipe from a couple of years ago that I did with a lot of fat in it. And if you've had like ones like Fat Boy ice creams, it's probably the same kind of recipe as that. Not that you can grab their recipe off their website or anything, but I've never had a Fat Boy, but I'm guessing it's the same. So I'm just gently whisking that. It's a bit harder in this because I can spill it everywhere, and I'm very messy sometimes when I want to be anyway. And of course, it's got the coconut butter in it that's going to have to melt. So let's have a look. I'm going to have to refresh the screen because it hasn't updated. Come on. Okay, sorry. I'm just trying to find the comments and it's not showing it to me. So we go here. Okay, let's have a look. Open up these comments. Okay, so thank you, D. Missed a bit. It's now only going to show me 4 comments. Come on. Too many variables and weight can settle after time. Yeah, so when we were just saying about the carbs then and that, like nutritional for weights. So let's just say in a salad, you get 3 pieces of cherry tomato and I get 2 if it's a tossed salad sort of stuff. You know, it makes it hard. You know, like you get a fatty piece of beef and it's got more fat on it. Of course, it's going to make it more of a fatty recipe, so of fatty nutritional. So nutritional is always a guide. You can use your own, you can work it out. But if I write that it's 6 serves, let's just say my ice cream's roughly around about 10 serves. Well, if you tear the weight of your tin that you put it in or your ice cream container, pour it all in, you can work out that you've got 1,200 grams. And if you're going to do 10 serves, you get 120 grams of ice cream. Simple. And then the nutritional should be the exact same as what I've written, as in an average, because it is 1/10 of the recipe. But yeah, if you cooked it longer, like on here, obviously it's going to thicken and reduce. As we know, the word reduce cooking, that will also reduces the weight. So yeah, weights are not accurate by a long shot. So yeah, when you're working at nutritionals for products, yeah, it has like the starting weight, the end weight, you know, after cooking, like, you know, the raw full packet, then with anything that you add in a premix like we have. So, okay, so that's fine for now. Let's have a quick look. Okay, Megan, is the ice cream recipe on the website? So yes, Karen, there is a chocolate ice cream recipe, and there is, if you go in there and just write ice cream, 2 words, you'll find them. There is also the frozen yogurt, which is very similar to this, where I've used yogurt, but I also stated that you can use cream, and that makes it an ice cream. So that's using flavorings. You can either use the aeroplane jelly or a Jello packet, any jelly that you've got. The aeroplane one's just the one that I find at the supermarket. Or you can use like a gelatin. You can, like I use the low carbo. You can use Mackenzie's if you wish. That's from the supermarket, or Great Lakes, whatever one you fancy. And for flavorings, you can use things like extracts. You can use your water drops or milk drops. So if you buy things like Vital Zing drops and want to make peach ice cream, you can. They've got chocolates, caramel, banana, all different flavors. There is, I never remember the brand. There's different custard powders and stuff like that you can get, protein custard powders. For those, I would use probably half of one. They're usually roughly around about 8 grams, I think, of carbs per sachet, so you wouldn't need the whole sachet in it anyway. And as I said, there is the flavoured collagens from Low Carbo as well too. And there is a 50% off deal there as well at the moment. So, well, not on all of their products. I just saw some things come through this morning in this morning's email. So if you go to their site, you can also get a handful of products that are on special at the moment. And some of them are the monk fruit with vanilla, monk fruit with salted caramel. I saw one of the flavoured collagens, which was strawberry and cream. And some of their bars, I think, all on special. up to 50% off, I think they were. So it's another one. I can see that the heat's coming through because the coconut butter is starting to melt. Okay, so yes, it is a fat ice zero carb keto ice cream. Yes, that's on the website. So that's probably from about 2018. So then there's the chocolate one that's on there. I will put a basic vanilla. I was going to. I'm not sure if I have. I kind of forget one. I might have done a basic vanilla ice cream on the website. If anyone can tell me, I don't know. But yeah, there's a few ice creams on there. So as I said, this one's 6 whole eggs. So instead of separating the eggs, I was just like, the other night I accidentally was making 2 at once. I was just trying to do them in the 15 minutes because as you can see, I've got multi-thermal cookers here. So I stuck one in the Magimix, one in the Thermomix of 2 different ice creams, threw everything in there and went, oh, I didn't separate the eggs. And well, it was a nice little surprise. The ice creams are perfect. And I made one was this one that we're making now with the coconut butter. And the other one was one with peanut butter and unsweetened cacao. So I actually just stuck in 3 tablespoons of crunchy Mavis peanut butter and about 2 to 3 tablespoons of Cell Squared's cacao powder, unsweetened cacao, and made a beautiful chocolate peanut butter creamy ice cream as well. They're like so good. Like honestly, it's the one thing that gets made a lot here. I can see this is like working absolutely perfect. You can't tell, but like some of you who are experienced cooks, I hope you're just seeing this pot, by the way, will see that that is actually starting to get to a thicker runny mix. So really with this, you're not cooking it till it's thick. You're cooking it till it's just thicker. It's cooking the eggs. You know that the sweetener's dissolved. It's warm to the touch. Let me just feel that now. See, it's still cold. So like it's warm, but it's not blood temperature. Let's just say it should probably get up to around there. I don't know all the theories of this. I love this, like doing it this way. As I said, I don't do it this way normally. I can see the little slicks of the coconut butter on the top, and I can tell you like this stuff just makes it taste like gold. It's like so good. And it's just that initial fat that keeps the ice cream really soft. So that's the whole theory behind the fat ice cream too. It's really thick, and it actually has no cream in that one, I don't think. I haven't made it forever, but I think it was like butter, MCT oil, eggs. The recipe's there anyway, you can have a look at that. Love the banana flavor. I do too. Do you use the Vital Zing drops, Lara? Because yeah, I've got the Chef's Choice extract, but I've also got the Vital Zing drops. Both are beautiful. And you can do it, and then you can also do like a chocolate ripple through it, or even Natvia's chocolate sauce, like their salted caramel sauce, and the chocolate sauce is also really nice through it. Oh, there's a bit of coconut oil. Or you know what else is really nice in these? If you've got the sucre and syrups, you've got the caramel or the maple. If you, I wait to do any of that. Like I put the extracts in, but if I was going to put nuts or something like that in it, I put it in after I've churned it, or I don't churn it, sorry, mixed it, just breaking up the ice crystals. But yeah, if you want to put like some syrup through it, the sucre and syrups, when you drizzle it through the ice cream and then freeze it, it goes like a toffee ripple. So that's quite amazing too. You can also make my caramel from the sesame snaps and add a bit of cream to that, and it makes the perfect McDonald's caramel sauce, like fudge sauce. So just don't put the sesames in it, or put the sesames in it, which would still be nice on ice cream. And just add some cream, and make sure if you do it, you heat the caramel till it's like thick caramel, then pour in the cream, and it'll foam up. So you've got to make sure it's in a big bowl so that the foam won't go over the sides. I've done that before too. But yeah, it's so good. I think I'm cooking it as it gets really thick. Yeah, so that's what you'll be doing, Clara. So all you're doing, if you're doing it manually, I'm guessing, not in a Thermomix. So like I said, you can see like this is on really slow. I just got to check. Yeah, I've actually even got that on 400 at the moment, so I'm going to turn that up a bit. But put it this way, if I was doing this on the stove top right now, not in this, because this is only on 600 watts, right? So it's on a super gentle heat. That's actually, you can see there's no steam coming out. It's actually not simmering under there at the moment. But if this was on the hot plate, double boiler, just as this, just normal, we've all done this before, right? I would have it off by now, okay? So you still want it to be liquidy, but if you stick your finger in there and you feel it's all nice and warm, you could even go like this. And if you can't feel that sweetener and you just see it's a little bit like thick, take it out, pour it in. It's still like, honestly, even when it comes out of the thermi, it's still liquidy. If you look on some of the videos that I've done of those, you'll see me pour it out. It's just liquid, okay? So it's not thick, and that will be perfect. What's the difference between coconut butter and coconut oil? Okay, coconut oil is extracted. Coconut butter actually has the fleshy meat made into the butter. So I know if I come around there, I wonder if you can see. I don't know what you're seeing. This bit here, it's a bit yellow. You can see that is like the meat that's made into the butter, and this bit, the white bit, is like the coconut oil. So you can see it's really soft, but the other bit is really chunky. So hopefully that's a little bit more of it. But if you go into the supermarket, there'll be like always some sort of coconut butter. I think it's Cocoa Earth sell one in the supermarket. Just have a look and you'll see that there'll be a separation. So the fat has come out of the meaty part because it's made with like the young coconuts, I think. I could be wrong. Pretty sure I read it like a long time ago. But you know when you eat coconut oil and it kind of tastes coconutty, but it's really just oily. Well, when you eat coconut butter, it's kind of coconutty, sweet. Like you could actually eat it like peanut butter because it's kind of delicious. It kind of feels like you're being naughty eating it. But let me just read what the nutritional says on here. Total carbohydrates per 1 teaspoon is 0.33. Per 100 is 6.6. The sugars is 6.6. But it's the only thing that's in here is pureed coconut meat. Nothing else at all. So, and you don't use a lot of it. Like I said, we've used roughly about 50-60 grams in the whole ice cream. Now, the other thing I was going to say about this ice cream too is that I'm going to turn that off because it's done. I'll turn that off. It still makes noise. I've got an ice cream container here. When you go to serve this, you don't need it. If you love your ice cream and you're, I don't have 1 scoop, I don't have 2, I have 3 kind of girl or boy, you'll find this ice cream is really filling. Obviously because we've put fat, and the egg yolk, but now we're putting in the whole eggs, fat. So it's got a lot of fats in it, and it does get very filling. So like I said, no xanthan gum. If you even look at the chocolate ice cream, which I think was the one that you might have made, Clara, and I honestly think it was overcooked, yes, and probably the xanthan gum, because it's like, it's not like it gets gummy. Let me just make sure that hasn't disappeared. Good. It doesn't get gummy like, xanthan gum can, like gluey, but you get that feeling on the roof of your mouth with xanthan gum in ice cream. So with this, when it's frozen and you take it out, I leave it out for, let's just say 10 minutes before it's nice and scoopable. But the thing is like, even if we're eating it at night and you're eating it slow, or you even put hot sauce on it or something like that, you've got the air conditioning on in heat because it's freezing cold at the moment, it still doesn't turn into a watery mess. And like I said, I have been trialing some different ice creams and stuff like that and seeing how they work, like while you're eating it. And they do tend to separate, like not separate like, water and oil type thing, but they do tend to get liquidy. This just stays as ice cream. It's like super creamy and delicious. In fact, how's the one? Okay. So this is one I made before. And you can see, we had some last night, but that's when I said, it felt really, what do you call it, decadent, but it's actually like, because it's so fatty, I'm just trying to find a spoon, sorry, that it's just so delicious. So as you can see, let's just do a slide on. So you can see, beautiful, soft, scoopable, non-icy, because there's not a lot of water in there, so it's mostly fat. And like when I said like 10 serves, there's more than that in it. So like I said, there is roughly around about 1,250 grams in this particular one of weight. So I would do it from, say, 80 grams to 100 grams if you're not eating anything throughout the day. It's just gonna, this is a meal, and it happens. Another change that I didn't mention when I was making the ice cream is I've reduced the sweetener. Now, the sweetener can be reduced even more if you wish. I have taken it down to 80 to 90 grams. If you use a Jello packet, a sugar-free Jello packet, you'll definitely want to reduce the sweetener because it's got sweetener in it of some description. But yeah, I would just have a play with it, try around that from the 80 to the 100 grams, and then just add more if you want next time round, because I'm sure you will find new ways to make this ice cream with different things in it, and that, like I do. Like I just honestly, I put instant coffee in it. Like I honestly, I just walk around and go, oh, that'd be nice in ice cream. We've done licorice ice creams with the anise extracts. You can put chunks through it. If you've got like, even if you've made cookies or bought cookies that you don't like, crumble them through it. It turns them into something completely different. Trust me, I've had ones that I don't like. Not ones that I've made, but ones that I've bought. And I've thrown it in ice cream, and oh my God, I'd buy them again just to put it in the ice cream. So really, really good. I've inquired with a few stockists, but no luck. I'll keep you in mind. Thank you. Yes, I got. Oh, is that for the sucrin? Happy to help, even if you just order the sucrin. Yeah, so the sucrin gold syrup, it's now on Amazon. Sucrin Australia also have a huge special sale on at the moment too, so you can buy it through there. Their sweeteners are amazing in that as well too. I use the powdered sweetener, and I use the sucrin 1-to-1, and they also have a great brown sugar alternative that I would say is one of the best on the market for sure. But yeah, just check out theirs, and they also stock our lovely products, our premixes as well, so you can pick up some of those at the same time. Yep, I definitely overcooked it. Mine, I've got to stick like custard. Note to self, cook less. Thanks, Megan. Okay, Clara, I want to see you make it again, and I want to see how it turns out, so that I know that this has hopefully helped. But yeah, you can see it's like, it's a liquid, so I'll just pop a lid on this, and I always put it in a shallow bowl so it freezes quickly. So I'll just pop that into the freezer. Now this is not a churn one. You don't have to have a machine to make this ice cream either. So once it's frozen, what I do, and this is why I do it in like the shallow container as well too, not only is it faster, it's easier to get out. I mix mine in my Thermomix, but if you've got, or the Magimix, but if you've got any food processor or blender, chop it into thirds or halves, like in the sections. I actually just scoop out a third or a half of it, chuck it into the machine that I'm using. In the thermal cookers, I just mix it for about a minute on speed 4 or 5 until it's like, looks like soft serve ice cream. Then I scoop it back into the container. Then I do it with the next lot and put it back into the container, next lot. And then what I'll do is, then if I was going to say use the syrup, I would fold that through, nuts through. If I wanted to do a streak of peanut butter, if I wanted to use my lemon curd, how's that lemon curd going? Still thin, but it's probably thickening up since I put it there. You know, anything you want to feed through this, you can, like say fruit, frozen fruit, fresh fruit, all those sort of things. You can obviously just serve it with different things too. So a quick and easy ice magic sort of style is to use any sugar-free chocolate. I just turn the MCT oil upside down and add a little bit, but you could add a little bit of this coconut butter as well. Microwave for a minute 15, pour it over the ice cream, and you've got an ice magic. As I said, you can make our sesame seed caramel. Like we've got a sesame seed snaps, like a butter toffee, on the website as well. So you can use that recipe minus the sesame seeds if you wish, and then you cook it till it's like a nice caramel. Then add half a cup of cream, and it will turn it into a caramel fudge sauce that can be stored in the fridge and just scooped over your ice cream or rippled through your ice cream. We can put our lemon curd in there. If that was an orange curd, blood orange curd, grapefruit curd, mixed citrus curd, curd with lavender, curd with thyme, you know, all the different ones. You can get fancy if you wish. You can put that through these ice creams. It's so simple. Great way to use up is you've got sample sachets of collagen powders, coffee powders, butter bomb powders, MCT powders, creamers, all those sort of things can all go in the ice cream in that as well too. Amazing. Is unflavoured collagen okay? Can't find flavoured in UK. Yes, Libby, the one that I've actually used is unflavoured, so it's just a pasture-raised collagen. That's one I use in every ice cream that I make. I put 2 scoops or 2 tablespoons, which is, I think they weigh roughly about 10 grams when it's 1 tablespoon. Well, it says 20 serving size, 10 grams. I would say that's a tablespoon size. Yes, it is. 1 heaped tablespoon is 10 grams. There you go, good guess. So I use 2 of those in every ice cream and 1 of the gelatin. You can use flavour, if in the UK you've got no sugar jellos, you can use that. I just use 1 sachet if it's roughly around that 7 grams, I think they are. Just throw that in or use half of it. Another way of sweetening them is if you've got the electrolyte powders, you can use those sort of things in them as well. And as I said, the cream can be substituted for dairy-free with coconut cream. I would refrigerate it and separate the thicker cream from the liquid. Just keep the liquid for a curry. Or you can use yogurt, or you can even use our yogurt from the website as well, which is a mixture of cream and inulin and sour cream. So that can be used in it too. So it's like, let's just say if you went to make it and you go, oh, I've only got 400 grams of cream, but you had some yogurt, you can throw the yogurt in there, or you had some sour cream, throw some in there. Just adjust the flavours accordingly. Remembering that the salt is just salt flakes, not fine salt. If you're using fine salt, just a tiny little pinch. You don't want to put in B1, but when I put in salt flakes, I'll put in it like that, and it doesn't taste salty at all. Excuse me. Eggs, room temperature eggs. I use free range eggs. I just don't like, I've seen those chickens before. I like to use free range. So that makes it easy. If you're going to put in the lemon curd, make sure your ice cream's completely done. If you mix them probably at the same time, the lemon can break the cream. So you might have a bit of curdling. So I would just do that afterwards. Is that Amazon Australia? Janine Bray, I can't remember where you're from if you are Australia. For Sucrin? Yes. So yes, Rachel's put some of the products onto Amazon Australia. So you'll find some Sucrin products there if that was for that. Or you can order directly from her online. But I would check sucrin.com.au first because there is a lot of sales on, and Rachel did a live a couple of days ago saying those prices never been seen before. I know, it's just they send her extra pallets, so and it's, you know, it's the quieter time of the year, so go on there and buy some syrups and stuff. They last forever. Like, I got a heap of them and that myself. So today I made, you may have seen on my Instagram, I did some jellies today. So they're a gummy that is actually firm like a real jelly, you know, like not like a gummy bear jelly, more like a wine gum. So I wanted them to be firmer. So actually, instead of doing my normal gummies recipe, I added in some of the sucrin syrup and cooked it in some water, and then added it into the gelatin and the citric acid and flavors separately, and then did it into a nice little rainbow cube, and they're amazing. So that's another way to use the syrups in that as well too. But I've got plenty of recipes. You can look up many things to use syrups and sucrin with today. The lemon curd looks like it's separated into 2 sections. Yeah, it has, but that will just stir back in. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's actually cooled down. But yeah, it'll be fine. But yeah, that'll thicken up. I should have put it in the fridge straight away. That'll thicken up lovely. But again, like I say, if you're cooking that on the stove, you're just waiting with any of them. As soon as you do that and it doesn't drop down, your curd is ready. But yeah, that's not the sweetener or anything like that. That's just the foam from the actual mixture itself. So that's the ice cream. Oh, I just had some extra lime juice there just in case I didn't get enough juice out of my lemon. Does anyone have any questions? I know we had some regarding breads and things like that. People wanted me to show the breads, but I actually put onto the thread on our Facebook group, if you're looking on there, for anyone wanting low-carb bread lives and that. I have done it quite a few times now, so I'm not going to do it again. I think we're all over it, including myself. But there is loads of tips in there. There was actually a live Q&A that we put on YouTube, so all of the videos are on YouTube as well. Regarding, the ingredients used, how to use them, the yeast starter, all of those sort of things. And I've also done three Facebook Lives making the bread. So I think that should help. And in the actual recipe, you'll find there's 2 videos in there as well. So there's actually the original one and the most recent one, with the changes where I don't use xanthan gum in the low-carb bread and that as well too. I need your brain. Wow, would not have thought of that. I don't know what that one was about. Always good to stock up. Going to brave my first ice cream. Yes! I want to see these ice creams and I want to see that they worked. But like I say, it's just simple things. So like, if you want to look up how to make an ice cream in a double boiler first, because obviously I haven't written one on the recipe yet on the website, just look up any normal ice cream and we'll give you those instructions. But you've just seen me do it. It's the same thing. Like the thing is what I do with my recipes is I'm not creating keto recipes. I'm just making recipes that are normal and I'm making them keto. That isn't that hard. It's not like we have to create these whole different, I know some people do, but we don't need to create whole new kinds of foods. We just need to just make a couple of little changes to the recipes that we all know and have made before to just make them lower carb. And it's quite simple because like when we make these sort of things, like the ice cream, I think it's less than 2 grams of carbs, I think. And the carbs are mostly from eggs. So that adds up. What is the best bread to use in a bread maker? I don't use a bread maker. 2 reasons. So that's a good question, Dee, because there's been some questions regarding the low-carb bread and the bread maker too. Okay, so most bread makers are not made for gluten-free bread. So all keto breads don't really have a rising stage because most of them don't have yeast in it, right? So putting them in there and letting them prove, well, what's proving? There's nothing in there, right? And that's what's part of most of them. I was given by Panasonic the hard crust bread maker, which is a fantastic one, and it actually does have a gluten-free function in it, so you can cook gluten-free breads in there. The one that we do make with the low carb with the gluten flour, you will note that I have made that recipe and fine-tuned it from many recipes over the years, and I find that if it goes through a knockdown stage, which traditionally in bread we prove it, we knock it down, roll it out and prove it again, so it has 2 proofs, makes it a tough bread and not as nice at all, and it doesn't give it as much rise. So again, in most of the bread makers, when you do it, it has the proving stage, then it starts to use the agitator and knocks all the air out of the bread, and then it has to prove again. So it doesn't really work. So when you go to take it out of the bread makers, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to have risen as big, and it's never as big as the loaf you can get in an oven anyway. You could use it for a proving thing if you can turn it off, or in the Panasonic one, what I've done when I use one with the gluten flour is there is a function in there for brioche, and I actually it tells you to remove the agitator for the brioche, so I actually use it in that section, take it out, so then when it's in there, it can't actually flip and knock the air out of the bread. And it was actually through doing that I started to add more butter and that to the bread too. So it's all these little things that you learn as you're going along. to change the recipe slightly so that they turn out better. So in saying all that, you can make it in the bread maker. I do have a low carb bread version on the website as well, which is with the feta and olives, which I did for Panasonic. But you'll see in the picture, it's a much lower bread. And of course, the bread makers are usually, you know, what, yay size. I think most of them are around that big and they go up a bit. But it's only like a bread that's about this high, you know, and probably as round as my hand. So where the low carb bread is quite capable of actually filling a full 900 Mackey's tin, not to the top. But if you do 1.5 times, it will go all the way to the top of the Mackey's tin, or it can go into like, you know, a 28 centimetre tin by 13.5 and fully fill it, you know, and be a nice high bread. So that's why I wouldn't use the bread maker, because bread makers are really built for flours that contain carbs. So even if it's gluten-free flour, they're high carb, so they actually can still help force up a rise, where most keto breads for sure don't have yeast in them at all, and the ones that do, again, won't benefit from trying to develop gluten, because that's what a bread maker is doing with all that agitating. It's working the gluten, and there's no gluten in keto. So yeah, that might explain it a little bit more to everybody. I think they might actually, oh, you're right, you know, because that's what they do. What size eggs, please? Okay, so this one is the 900 grams. I always use large or jumbo eggs. So this one's the Sunny Queen Farms. I use this one, or our local Port Stephens ones, or Lake Macquarie eggs. But yeah, 900 gram minimum net weight. I know that that's not there. I don't even know how that works. Is it 18 times something? Let's just put that on there, and I'll tell you. I think it's roughly around about 60 grams. Let's guess. That one's 52 grams. So between 50 and 60 gram eggs. The bigger the eggs, it's not going to make the ice cream any less. And like I said, even with the full eggs, I noticed no difference in flavour. All it does is actually add more volume. And it, you know, I know that some people, like especially if you're making this, that would have actually been 12 eggs or yolks, and you would have had 12 egg whites. So then you're like, what have I got to do with 12 egg whites? Yes, you can freeze them, okay? So that was something I would do. But using the whole eggs in the ice cream, I think is pretty amazing, because it adds to the volume. And yeah, I get more ice cream now in that little blue, that was a little Jamie Oliver one that I just got from Woolworths, the little baking tin. When I was doing it before, it probably was like about that lower than the actual tin, and this time it came right up to the top of the tin. The one that I did with the peanut butter and chocolate's actually over the top of the tin, because it had like, you know, big tablespoons of peanut butter in it. We'll let you know how my next ice cream goes. I can't wait to see. Thank you so much for tonight. I can't wait to make ice cream. Yes! It's so funny, like it's winter for us in Australia anyway, in the southern hemisphere, and I'm still loving ice cream. So I would definitely be making that. Lemon curd to me always has a time and place, and it's all year round, in my opinion. And this particular recipe you can freeze as well, so because it has the xylitol or allulose in it. For anyone wanting to buy the allulose, you do have to, in Australia, you have to buy it from iHerb. You can get it in legally, that's not a problem. It's just not an approved food for anyone to sell in Australia yet, just because it's a relatively new food. But it is FDA approved, if that's what it is for the governing body in America. And thank you for explaining the bread maker. I've had 3 failed loaves and have given up, so we'll try your recipe in the oven. Is a bread loaf baking tin different from a standard loaf tin? Okay, so Amy, you can use any baking tin for the breads. Again, if you go onto the low carb bread, you'll actually find in the blog post there's a link, or if you look up bread tins on the website, you should be able to find a whole post that I did on the bread tins. I do have them. I actually have all my bread tins in here. I have everything from proving baskets, so you can actually prove it in a proving basket without trying to make too much noise. So I don't even know what size this one. So that's a USA one that's got the slidey top on it, so you can use that one. That one's probably a smaller one than the one I use. This is my main tin that I use. So yeah, you can see that's a good inch longer. I think this one is 28 by 13 and a half. Still gives you a nice high loaf. That's the actual, because you can see the ribbing on the side. The picture that's on the website for the low carb bread is made in this tin, because you can see it's that one, not the one with the top. But you know, you can, with this size one, if you wanted to, if you had two of those, or you wanted to put like 3/4 or half of the loaf in there and make a square loaf and then do some buns with the other ones, you can do that too. Or a focaccia, because you've got to remember that bread recipe actually works for any kind of breads. So you can make, somebody was asking me the other day about I had a little video of me making Lionhouse rolls, which is like a scroll, sort of like a croissant sort of shaped roll. And I made that with the dough. So you can make pizza bases and everything like that with low carb bread too. So no, you don't have to have any special pans, even though like I have different ones on there, but it'll explain different sizes. But yeah, I would start with roughly around that 26 centimetre. And they're usually like half as wide as they are long. But this is a great tin. I think these might still be on special at Everton. And yeah, they're cheap as chips when they're on special. I think they were 60% off. So I bought a ton of stuff myself from them, baking trays. I've even got some over there on the floor. So yeah, that's all you need. And with these ones, I don't line them, I don't spray them, I don't oil them or anything like that. And when I'm finished with them, I just wipe them over with a paper towel. I don't, because I'm just baking bread in it, I don't wash them. That sounds really bad, but it just keeps, like, they actually still look like and feel like they're brand new. So that's just how I use all my baking pans. And then they're stacked nicely in there so they don't get all scratched up and stuff. Things usually use 700 grams, but we'll remember the difference. Yeah, the 700 gram ones will be fine too, I'm sure, but you'd probably still need an extra one or so egg yolks. It's just the fat. So with yours, Lara, was the ice cream harder? Because yeah, the egg yolk is what makes it softer. So if, let's just say you went to make the ice cream and you're like, damn it, I've only got 5 eggs. Still go ahead and make it, but just slightly reduce everything else. Like, I have done it plenty of times, or like I said, you can add some yogurt or whatever else that you've got in the fridge. But yeah, or you can just add some extra fat. So if you don't have coconut butter, chuck in a little bit of coconut oil, or throw in some butter, unsalted, and that'll just add that extra bit of fat. You can add in, you know how there's avocado ice cream? It's basically replacing the eggs. So, you know, that's another thing that you can use as avocado in replacing the eggs for your ice cream. I've done it all. we do it with our tortillas and stuff like that too. We use avocados. I've used avocados for eggs in crackers. They work fine for an egg replacement and that as well too. Possibly better than zucchini. So, you know, like a mashed zucchini or a grated zucchini, not squeezed out, is also an egg replacer. I don't know how zucchini ice cream would go. So did I have any other questions? I've put in the post that we've still got our 10% off end of financial year sale too. So you can get our cookbooks, which I've got here. We've got the 4 paperbacks at the moment. You can get any cookbook or ebook on sale with the coupon code EFS10 in store. It had flicked off this morning, but it's back on again. I'd set it for the wrong date to go off, but yes, it will finish after the long weekend, so it'll finish on midnight tomorrow night. So that means you can get any of those. The ice cream recipes and that are on the website, so remember, when you go onto our website, you can go into the search part and you can type in ice cream, 2 words, or ice, and see what comes up, because the fat ice won't come up if you look in ice cream, because it might just be under fat ice. Less words is usually better. Alternatively, you could just go into sweets and scroll through and find all the versions, because we've got our macadamia nut ice cream as well too. So again, for non-dairy versions for this ice cream, you can use almond milk, unsweetened almond milk, coconut milk, or macadamia milk, hemp milk, whatever milk you like. Macadamia milk is one of my favourites, possibly because it comes from the fattier nut, and again, it makes it softer because the fat is present. It's less watery. So like anything that's more watery makes it harder, because the water will freeze harder than something that's fat. No, adds flavour. This has been fantastic. Thanks, Megan and Dave. No, you are always busy. However, these lives are invaluable for less confident cooks. Great to have them more often than possible. That's awesome. Thanks so much, Lara. And we will be doing more. And I will put a post. I think I've put a post up already. But I want to see what you want in these sort of things. Like I said, I will do from time to time a recipe out of a book. We're not going to start doing our entire books live. Otherwise, then we won't be able to afford to do lives because we would have to go back to work. But I'd love to see what people are having difficulty with so that I can actually show you and explain it better. I will start to do more video content and start sticking a few snippets of videos back into the recipes that I think are a little bit more complicated. Like our cupcakes we just did, I don't think anyone needs to see me mix it in a bowl, scoop it into a baking pan, pop it in an oven, pull it out 20 minutes later, let it cool and put icing on top. It's that easy. So, and it's like tonight I'm like, well, I can't really show you the most recent recipe. I could show you that, how it actually can be probably completed in half an hour and iced if you threw them in the freezer for 10 minutes. But, we really are trying to do as simple recipes as possible. So I put a post on the group for your ideas for recipes going forward that you haven't seen from me yet that are using just a few ingredients or things that are fast. So let's just say you want to see like a chicken and cashew stir fry, because I think I've done one in a book at one time. I did a couple of years ago. But, I might want to do a completely different version on the website. Do you want to have, lamb shanks and red wine or chicken cacciatore or, I'm looking at an old bottle of port. That's not really keto. But, anything that you're actually wanting to see a new version of, you can try and ask me things like, we had one of the testers say, the other day something with fig or something like that. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to do fig because it's too sweet. But then I might try and think of something that's an alternative, like we've done apple crumbles, and we haven't put apples in them. And, it'll shape what I do for the future. And I'll just put up some crazy little polls and stuff like that too, just to see if people want to see something new coming up in that as well too, to have some cyclical low carb in the way that we might do Mediterranean recipes or Mediterranean books, or a low carb book where we have a higher content of vegetables and fruit, say for instance, let's just say a shepherd's pie topped with sweet potato or pumpkin, something like that, where it's still, you could still eat it and be totally in ketosis, but it's just a higher carb than I would normally do, because I do try and bring everything right down. If I'm using onions or leeks, that's the only carb that tends to be in the recipe, and I have to bring everything down to fit those in. But as a rule, I don't know if I've even got a recipe with sweet potato in it, but that might be something I could use a little bit of and incorporate into a mash or something like that for something different. Love lamb shanks. You'll like some pictures I've got coming up. I've actually just done a lamb shank for the next book. They are amazing and they look amazing. But yeah, I can, that's one recipe for a book, so there definitely could be some others. Could you use the flavoured low carb sweeteners in the ice cream? Yes, the flavoured low carb. Oh no, I know what you're getting at. You're talking about the monk fruit ones, is the vanilla and the caramel. You can, but your ice cream will set like concrete. So monk fruit does make ice cream hard. So the only sweeteners that don't is xylitol and the allulose so far that I know. And I have tested monk fruit. I've tested your erythritol, stevia blends, baking sweeteners, sucre and gold. I haven't done one with our condensed milk yet. Main reason is I know it can be done, but I don't want to give somebody a recipe that they actually have to make something else that takes an hour before they actually make the ice cream as well. So I know that you can make that, and I can do it if people want it, but what is good. I think it's just trying to simplify things as much as possible for the recipes on the website. I used to do recipes that could take a couple of hours in making. I don't want to make them. And the condensed milk is great if you've got a Thermomix and you just chuck it in and it's done in an hour because you don't have to stand around. But like where you saw me on the stove, on this cooktop tonight, I will do a video for those of you, because I did get a couple of people asking about the condensed milk. I will do a short video on it, and I'll just do it in the full video down on the saucepan so you can actually see it. But I think like things like that, yeah, it's just so much time doing things. So they're a little bit fiddlier. But, you know, if I just say basically how to do recipes, because that's what we're going to be doing in our cookbooks and that as well too, is a cheat sheet on how to turn your lamb shanks into a lamb shank pie, or your lamb shanks into a shepherd's pie, or your lamb shanks into, you know, a Greek pizza, or, you know, all those sort of things that are time saving that you can repurpose food for, and other recipes that you've made. Thanks for simplifying, really need that. Well, Sharon, honestly, that's what I do too, and our next cookbooks in the future, you'll actually see a big cull. I'm going to start looking at things that are really simple but still really flavorful. We're not going to be doing like, you know, a limited ingredient book that's like, you know, 3-4 ingredients or something like that, where it's just basic food that you could make up. But yeah, they'll be, you know, simple but very delicious foods that we could all be bothered making, and it'll actually make us excited to want to make them, because, you know, you could probably do a whole dinner party in an hour because they're all that easy. That would be nice, wouldn't it? I don't do dinner parties, but anyway. You have so many great ideas floating around. We are lucky ones to benefit from your expertise. The head doesn't stop, Lara, but honestly, I want to make sure that what I'm making is what you guys want to see. So while I might have ideas, and sometimes I come up with things and I think they're fantastic and they could fall flat on their face. It's happened in the past. So at the moment, you know, like I want to know, like, it's funny because when I do recipes for the website, one of the things we do is we do what's called a keyword research. We look for things that people might be looking for. So let's say today I was looking for Asian style recipes like chicken and cashews, Singapore noodle, you know, chicken stir fry, chicken broccoli, all those sort of things, you know, orange chicken, lemon chicken, the Chinese lemon chicken. Hardly anyone searches for it each month. I'm like, wow, I've put it on the cover of a book. You know, so, and mind you, nearly everything I just said then, nobody really looks for each month. And I'm like, oh, I thought they'd be popular, but they're not. So I want to know what everybody wants to see, so I actually get it right. So yeah, asking you is a better way of doing it. I love sweet potato. I did, Dee. The last time I did try it, though, I found it a little bit too sweet. But anyway, I think that's plenty enough of me tonight. I hope that you've got something out of this. I want to see some lemon curds. I want to see some ice creams. Just remember, whisk it. Don't let it overcook. Do it in a double boiler till it's thick, till it coats the back of your spoon. And then refrigerate. This one will go into the freezer. It only needs a blender. Doesn't need an ice cream churner. But if you do have an ice cream churner, you can chuck it in an ice cream churner. It won't hurt it. So just freeze it for a few hours, pop it into your ice cream churner or your KitchenAid with the ice cream attachment, and churn it, and then pop it into the freezer, and it'll be perfect. It just doesn't need to be churned to break ice crystals, because it really doesn't have any. And to be honest, you can actually eat it straight without even blending it. I find it's not as nice. It's still great, but when it's blended and put back in, it's amazing. And you get to taste it when it comes out of your blender and that as well too, which is even better. Okay. Crazy lemon chicken is one of the main meals in a menu. Yeah, and you know, that was one of the things I found that actually really surprising, because lemon chicken to me is something that so many people asked me for when I created the one for the healthy family. And yeah, to see that it was, I think it was like 600 searches a month on Google, you know, for a keto one. Lemon chicken, yeah, I'm sure there's heaps. But, you know, I'm not trying to compete with the rest of the people, because just to do a general one is silly, because, you know, they've all got sugars and sweetness and stuff like that in it anyway. But anyway, yep, I hope you've got something out of it. Show us your pictures. Remember, if you pop them on our group and you tag us, or, you know, you don't have to tag us in the group anyway, but if you tag us on Instagram or whatever, we're giving away some of our packet mixes. I don't even have any here. I'm like, yeah, I'm such a great salesperson. I did remember my books though. But we're giving away some of the premixes each week. So we'll be doing a draw tomorrow on anyone that shared a picture, and sending out some packets. So yeah, if you're going to do, we'll be looking this next week for some ice creams and some lemon curds or lemon meringue pies or whatever. And for those of you who like that, because we've got the egg whites still from that, there is a recipe for that on the website as well. And I will give somebody a lovely packet of, I don't know, shortbread, pancakes, porridge. What's the other thing? Cake. Anyway, that's enough for me. Have a lovely day off tomorrow for everybody that's on a long weekend. And don't forget to go onto our group and just let me know what you'd like to see in a short section of a quick cooking class, maybe once a month at least to start with, and then we'll go from there. Okay, have a good night and see ya. See yas.